They say women love compliments. But have you ever wondered why the ones you give rarely linger, while the few you didn't mean to give seem to echo in her mind for days? It's not about beauty. It's not about charm. Most men compliment what they see, but the rare man, the one she never forgets, compliments what he feels. Because some words don't just touch her ears, they touch her soul. Those are the ones she'll never ask for, but secretly craves the most. Today, we're not talking about flattery. We're talking about truth, spoken through stillness, awareness, and masculine presence. Let's uncover the 3 compliments women crave, but will never admit. Number 1, I trust your judgment. It sounds simple, doesn't it? Just 4 words. But in a world that constantly doubts her, questions her instincts, challenges her emotions, and pressures her to always be agreeable, these words hit like lightning. When you say, I trust your judgment, you're not handing her flattery. You're giving her something far rarer, validation of her inner compass. You're saying, I see the strength behind your softness. I recognize the wisdom in the choices you make. Most people praise a woman's beauty, her smile, or her kindness. But very few ever tell her, you make good decisions. And that's because most men don't realize how much a woman carries. Behind her calm expression is often a storm, balancing family expectations, work demands, and emotional responsibilities. She's been forced to question herself 1,000 times, even when she was right. So when a grounded man, a man who doesn't need to dominate, impress, or correct, looks her in the eye and says, I trust your call, something inside her shifts. It's not about making her feel superior. It's about showing that you see her clearly. You're not validating her to gain something. You're affirming her because you recognize strength when you see it. And that's what sets the Stoic man apart. He doesn't throw words around to charm. He speaks with intention, slowly, calmly, with presence. Because he understands that true power isn't loud. It's quiet. It's in the way you listen when she speaks. It's in the way you step back and let her lead when she knows the path better than you do. That kind of trust creates depth, not dependency, but mutual respect. Imagine this. She's explaining a tough decision. Maybe something about her career, her boundaries, or even her values. Most men might interrupt, advise, or try to solve it. But you stay quiet for a moment, nod and say, I get it. I trust your judgment, no debate, no control. Just trust. That moment stays with her, because suddenly she feels seen, not as someone to be protected or corrected, but as an equal with wisdom and agency. In the Stoic sense, trust is an act of respect. You're not trying to control the outcome. You're choosing to believe in her ability to discern what's right. It's the same way a strong man trusts the process of life, without clinging, without fear. When you tell a woman you trust her judgment, and your tone, your body language, your stillness all align with that truth, you become unforgettable. Because in a world full of noise, you become a rare moment of silence, and she'll remember that silence long after your words fade. That's not just a compliment. It's recognition, the kind that touches something ancient and sacred within her, the kind that only a grounded, self-assured man can give. Number 2, you make people feel safe. Not you're hot. Not you light up the room, but you make people feel safe. It's a different kind of compliment, one that doesn't feed the ego, but reaches straight into the soul. Because beauty fades, charm flickers, but emotional gravity, the quiet energy that draws others in and makes them exhale, that lasts forever. Most women live in a world that constantly asks them to prove their worth, to be beautiful but not vain, strong but not intimidating, soft but not weak. And so many of them walk through life carrying silent doubts. Am I too much? Am I not enough? They balance this invisible tightrope between vulnerability and strength, always afraid that showing one will erase the other. But when you look at her and say, "You make people feel safe," you're not just complimenting her presence, you're acknowledging her essence. You're telling her, the world feels calmer when you're in it. And that's something no amount of makeup, attention, or approval can replace. Think about it. When was the last time someone made you feel safe? Not because they had all the answers, but because their energy said, "You can rest here." You don't have to pretend. That's what this compliment gives back to her. Because the truth is, very few people ever see a woman for her emotional gravity. The warmth that steadies a chaotic world, the way she softens tension in a room, or the quiet strength behind her care. When a man recognizes that, with calm eyes, a steady tone, and no agenda, she feels seen. Not as an object of desire, but as a force of peace. It's like standing beside a campfire on a cold night. You don't need to say much. You just feel its presence, grounding, warm, alive. That's what some women are like. They carry that same fire within them, a warmth that makes others breathe easier. And when you say, "You make people feel safe," it's as if you're holding up a mirror to that fire and saying, "I see your light, not for how it shines, but for how it heals." From a Stoic perspective, this kind of compliment goes deeper than praise. It's recognition of virtue. You're acknowledging her peace, her composure, her ability to bring harmony where others bring chaos. In Stoicism, that's not just femininity. That's wisdom in motion. It's the kind of strength that doesn't need to shout because it's rooted in stillness. And here's the thing. When you give this compliment sincerely, without expectation, it changes the dynamic between you and her. Because you're no longer speaking from desire. You're speaking from awareness. You're saying, "I notice the way people lean toward you. I notice the calm you bring, the ease you create." That's rare, and in that moment, something powerful happens. She doesn't feel like she has to perform. She doesn't feel like she has to earn your attention. She simply feels seen. That's what every soul longs for. To be recognized, not for what they show, but for what they are. So don't just tell her she's beautiful. Tell her she's safe to be herself. Because when a woman hears those words, "You make people feel safe," she doesn't just remember you. She remembers how she felt when you said it. And that is the kind of compliment that lingers. Long after your voice fades. Long after the conversation ends. It stays because it speaks to her soul, not her surface. That's the compliment of a man who's grounded, observant, and wise. The kind of man who sees beyond the body into the spirit. And in a world that only looks, you will be remembered for truly seeing. Number 3, you inspire me. 3 simple words. Yet when spoken with truth and stillness, they carry more weight than 1,000 empty compliments. Most men chase admiration. They flex, they impress, they perform, thinking that if they shine bright enough, she'll finally notice. But the Stoic man doesn't perform. He observes. He studies how a woman carries herself when life gets heavy, how she stays calm when others break, how she chooses kindness when anger would be easier. And then, one day, he looks at her and says softly, "You inspire me." Not as a line, not as a move, but as a confession. You see, when a man says, "You inspire me," he's not giving away power. He's recognizing it. He's acknowledging the beauty that goes beyond appearance. The beauty of discipline, resilience, and grace. He's saying, "I don't just desire you. I respect you. I see what you've conquered quietly." Imagine this. A woman who wakes up every day balancing chaos, her work, her emotions, her world, yet still chooses peace. A woman who stands her ground but never loses her gentleness. To the untrained eye, she's just strong. But to a man of depth, she's art in motion. When you tell her, "You inspire me," you hold a mirror to that art. You're not making her your prize. You're making her your reflection, a reminder of what grace under pressure looks like. And that's the difference between admiration and attachment. Most men say, "I need you." But the Stoic man says, "I learn from you." Because inspiration isn't dependency, it's recognition. It's looking at her and realizing that her calm sharpens your own. Her courage reminds you of your mission. Her softness teaches you that strength doesn't always roar. And when you say it with stillness, without trying to impress, without expecting anything in return, the words pierce deeper than flattery ever could. Because women are used to hearing, "You're beautiful," they're rarely told, "You make me want to become a better man." That's what makes this compliment so powerful. It flips the script. Instead of putting her beneath your gaze, you lift her to her rightful place, beside your respect. In a world obsessed with surface-level attraction, this kind of truth is rare, and that rarity is what makes it unforgettable. She'll remember it, not because it stroked her ego, but because it recognized her essence. It told her that her presence matters, that her light doesn't just decorate a man's life, it elevates it. And here's the paradox. When a man who doesn't need her says, "You inspire me," it hits differently. Because it doesn't come from emptiness, it comes from abundance. He's not saying, "Complete me." He's saying, "I see your strength, and it challenges me to rise." That's the compliment of a Stoic. Calm, grounded, without theatrics. It's a gift, not a transaction. She won't replay your message because of your tone, or your looks, or your timing. She'll replay it because, for the first time in a long time, she felt seen, not for what she gives, but for who she is. You want to stand out? Don't flatter her beauty. Compliment her spirit. Tell her she inspires you to sharpen your mind, to stay disciplined, to move with quiet strength. That's how you plant a memory that doesn't fade. Because long after you're gone, after the conversations end and the noise fades, she'll still remember that one moment when a man of calm power looked at her and said, "You inspire me." And she'll whisper to herself, "He saw my soul." That's how you don't just enter her life. You stay in her story. In the end, it's never about the words themselves. It's about the energy behind them. Anyone can say, "You're beautiful." But few men can say, "I trust your judgment. You make people feel safe. You inspire me." Those words don't just touch her heart. They awaken something deeper, because they come from a man who speaks with clarity, not need. From a man who has mastered himself before seeking to understand others, and that's the essence of a Stoic man. He doesn't chase validation. He creates presence. He doesn't flatter. He recognizes. He doesn't seek to impress. He seeks to see. So remember this. When your words come from strength, they last longer than attraction. They echo in silence, long after you've left the room. If this message spoke to you, if it reminded you of the kind of man you're becoming, then support the mission. Hit that like button, share this with a brother who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more weekly insights on masculine discipline, emotional power, and Stoic wisdom. Stay grounded, stay quiet, stay powerful. I'm the Stoic Wolf, and I'll see you in the next one.